And so the courthouse that they have now is over 40 years old. And so it was neat to attend that event and to certainly represent the district while being there too. So it was a wonderful event.
Thank you, Mr. Zakrzewski. Next item on the agenda is Board Superintendent Communications. Are there any communications from the board to Duke or about each other? There being none. Next item on the agenda is Plus Delta Plan for Improvement. I'm not sure which one of you ladies are taking this one.
I can take this one. At the June 24th meeting, there were no deltas, but there were several pluses. There was full board and it was in attendance. There is a clock that has been replaced.
And it's actually still working?
Yes, yes. Getting information on contracts. A good discussion in closed session regarding contract agreements. And thank you, Jan, for assistance in preparing for the meeting, which she does so well. And that was it.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a board member willing to move the consent agenda?
Madam President,
Thank you, Mrs. Fletcher.
I'd like to move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
Is there support? Support. The movement of the resolution by Mrs. Fletcher, support by Mrs. Tolliver. Questions, comments, concerns regarding the resolution? There being none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, now we're into the fun stuff. Next item on the agenda is consider the appointment of the middle school principal, Mr. Bob.
Yes, thank you, President Hicks. It's a privilege to be here this evening, especially for this agenda item in particular. So if you're thinking that we are experiencing deja vu, it is somewhat accurate, although the circumstances this evening are slightly different. And approximately a year ago, we were welcoming Desmond Smith back to the South Redford School District in the capacity as an assistant principal over at Thurston High School. And so you might be wondering what Desmond's been up to over the course of the past year. In addition to getting reacclimated with the district, he leads student behavior and student choices each and every day at Thurston High School, and he has done that successfully, as well as the daily operations of a building. Most of you were able to attend the graduation ceremony as well as honors dinner. He was instrumental in both of those events. But he's also been instrumental in a couple of district-wide initiatives too that I wanted to accentuate this evening. And so one is school spirit. And so Desmond regularly met with the administrative team ongoingly throughout the school year and really helped kindle and rekindle a lot of school spirit across the district. So not only specifically at Thurston High School, but he worked hand in glove with the elementary principals in orchestrating a number of spirit events across the district, both for homecoming as well as for Spirit Week in the winter, but then most recently with the graduation ceremonies, organizing the buses, graduating seniors over at Thurston, where they have clap outs over at the elementary schools. And so staff have an opportunity to see some of the students that they've taught over the years, and then certainly it's motivation to the younger students to one day be in cap and gown from Thurston High School. And so if it wasn't for Desmond's efforts, we wouldn't have had those school spirit events across the entire district this year. So that's been noticeable and much appreciated across the entire district. And so hats off to Desmond for making that a go. And then certainly he's been instrumental in enhancing the district on our culturally responsive and equity practices across the district. As you know, that's something that we've been working on quite considerably. And Desmond has been working hand in glove mostly with the middle school, but also with the elementary schools as well. And so he's certainly been a champion of those practices here across the district and will continue to be in his new role. And so also in addition, I think I mentioned this a year ago, it's not common where you have an opportunity to work alongside of somebody and encourage them and be a support for one another over the course of the years. And so many moons ago, we were actually social studies teachers together and in the same department. And so over the course of the years, we've been a source of encouragement and support for one another. And so to watch him blossom and flourish in his career has been exceptional to be a part of. And so to watch him blossom into this new position is also exciting. He is a natural relationship builder. He is a man of integrity and great wisdom, and he is an exceptional listener. And he told me I better not make him cry, but I didn't know if I was but he makes everybody on our administrative team better. And with that, we have no reservations that he's going to be a success in his new position. Certainly one of the greatest testaments of his dedication to the district is that both of his daughters that are joined here this evening with him, Zola and Eden, are long-standing students in the South Redford School District. And Zola's in the Eagle Scholars Program at Pierce. And so, again, to highlight Desmond's commitment to the district, and certainly his wonderful spouse, Erin, has been a source of encouragement and support over the years as well. And, you know, we certainly believe that Desmond is ready for this next step and is going to lead us in the next chapter at Pierce Middle School. So, Madam President, for your consideration.
Do I have a board member willing to move the resolution? We got lots. Nicole got in there first. Is there support? Support. Okay, we movement of the resolution by Ms. Kangas, support by Mrs. Early. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the resolution? Mr. Baker.
The resolution itself or Mr. Smith? Can I go down a little rabbit trail?
Sure, you can go down that rabbit trail.
Two questions. Biggest lesson learned this past year at THS, and most anticipated struggle up here.
Wow, wasn't there no interview tonight?
Dude, we haven't signed this yet.
Right, that's right. Biggest lesson learned. Wow. I learned a lot. So I would, the first piece I believe would be to be patient and have a listening ear with the students and the staff. Everyone has a story. Everyone has their own life and their own culture and their own experiences that they bring. And really understanding that piece really has a lot to do with what happens at the workplace or at school. And really getting down to the root of a lot of things really affects how things go day to day. And being able to establish relationships and understand people and their backgrounds and their culture and their life really has it makes a shift on how they interact with each other and how you can interact with them. So just learning people and just sitting down and just being quiet sometimes and just listening and understanding what's happening and why it's happening has a lot to do and can take a huge effect on the next step, the next outcome.
Thanks.
Second question was
Anticipated challenge at Pierce.
I don't move at warp speed, and a lot of times people want things to happen or change immediately. Dr. Hoover's been there for a while, and I'm coming in a fresh lens, a new perspective, kind of fresh. I know some things, but but not coming in with just to sweep out some old things and bring in my own thing. And I think some people sometimes want that to happen when the new regime comes in, and that's not my style. I like to observe and listen and see what's really going on, and then sit down and speak with people, collaborate, come up with some great solutions.
We very much believe in the chain of command around here, and so obviously you'll report to Mr. Galvez, and that's how it should be. but we also want to support you as an administrator. And so you are welcome here at any time, and you'll probably be here more than you want to be here, than Aaron wants you to be, but that's okay. So that balance, while also wholeheartedly supporting the junior committee. Thank you, Madam President.
I'd just like to say, I've been at Thurston on several occasions, especially when I registered our students last year. And I watched how you worked with the students, and how one thing I really admired that you didn't take any mess from them, and I like that. And I think that's a good trait.
I try to be nice, but sometimes you gotta be hard and fair at the same time.
So I think you'll do a good job.
Madam President?
Mr. Baker?
And can I piggyback on that? My wife, who is in your building fairly regularly, really felt that support, and so I appreciate that, personally and professionally.
Oh, we'll be back. So, my kids are still in the district. So sorry. I'm sorry, child. Dr. Hofer is a tough act to follow. Love her. She did wonderful things at Pierce. But you have done extraordinary things at Thurston over this last year. It's like Ms. Tyler, I've been watching. My son is there still. And what I like is I base everything on interactions with the kids, not necessarily the adults, because we're adults. We should know how to act. But I like watching you with them. Because it's a total different atmosphere when you interact. And I just think it's going to be wonderful. When you come to Pierce, you'll see me a lot. Hopefully my son won't be in your office, but, promises.
She really liked the attention.
Make sure I have candy and fruit. October has candy.
One thing I have to say about South Redford, I don't have, when a lot of shifts go on like this, like a difference of buildings and teachers and administrators, I don't have any issue or any doubt that so what do I want to use? The integrity of the district and the teachers won't shift with it. You know what I mean? You all are pretty much on the same level, and I appreciate that as a parent in the district. So good luck to you, and good luck to you too.
Anyone else? Okay then, any questions on the resolution? There being none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Welcome to your new job.
Is that unanimous, Madam?
Yes, sir. Yes. And I still feel sorry for you having to at home, at work.
Maybe see if you can get somebody to take you home.
Mom's not available. Okay, we're going to take about a 10-minute recess, and everybody gets a chance to chat with Mr. Smith and some of the family. We'll be back.
6:54.
Thank you.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Now that I know how to do it.
Thank you.
This is the recess,
Next item on the agenda is to establish a calendar of meetings. I went to sleep. Mr. Bobrovetsky.
So, attached, you will see the proposed tentative schedule for the upcoming school board meetings for the 1920 school year. And I don't think that there's any special notations to make that I'm aware of. And so I don't know if you want to take a moment to look through those dates to see if there's any objections. And if not, then for your consideration is the proposed calendar meeting dates for the 19-20 school year.
Madam President,
Mr. Baker?
where did we end up with at the board self-evaluation? We talked about bumping, was it ours or Brian?
We did ours, the evaluation, but we need to come back to vote.
No, but we were
Oh.
talking about moving Brian's and moving ours to like December. So that's why it's the year end.
Right.
And
So the May 4th meeting would need to be moved.
I don't know that I think we can probably leave it like it is. We can always change things, but I don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about that, doing it differently because of, our process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were talking about changing both of them because it's just such a busy time of year to try and keep more meetings in, right? So we kind of talked a little bit about August, we talked a little bit about October or late September, yeah. So,
I would hate to add it to December because of all of the special functions that
Well,
I'm
even
encouraged
like-
to be to, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
But before year's end, I think, before we started like with a new board and whatever, so everybody was.
so like November maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, something to think about. And so I'm not
and
suggesting that
it's
we don't
usually cold
approve
then,
this.
so we might not hear about meetings.
Mhm. I'm not suggesting we don't approve this as is, just don't want to lose that.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Madam President, is it for June 22nd to July 13th? Is there a reason why we don't do it on July 6th?
We typically only have one meeting in July.
So we have to wait 3 weeks in between the June?
And it's the second, usually our meetings are second.
Second and fourth.
So the 13th would be the second.
Right, it's the second.
And now holiday
It's not
weekend.
every other week. It's the second and fourth Mondays.
And July 6th would probably be a little too close to the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
It would be the first Monday of the month, and I think June 1st is an added extra meeting, where the 8th and the 22nd are our normal
Right.
rotation. So that's why it kind of falls that way. But then we have a long haul between December and before we meet again in January too. It's kind of like July. Those two kind of like down times, like recharging months for us as a board unless something comes up.
Yeah, because that December to January is over a month, month and 4 days.
Just the July 13th.
Because it's like 3 weeks in between.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Bob, you note that we need to talk with Brian when he gets back about changing those evaluation times.
Yes,
Thank you.
for both.
For both him
As
and
well.
us.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Of
So I
course.
think we were talking for his in August, but. Yeah, but even going forward.
Like the
because
end of the
way
school year, the way trying
Oh,
to get it in after the year ended so we could see if he met his goals or what happened during the
Right.
year.
And July is typically a vacation month, so August.
Yeah.
And maybe what we do, Madam President, is to wait to make the changes, add in an August one for this year, and see how it goes. And then consider that for,
Right. Okay then, so we have a tentative.
I move the adoption of this attached schedule as printed, Madam President.
I think we actually have a resolution for it, do we?
Yeah, we
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Is there support? Support. Okay, moving to the resolution by Mr. Baker, support by Ms. Tolliver. Questions, concerns? I think we already discussed those, but still have to ask. There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Okay, next item is to name the depository banks.
Madam President, can you just back up just one second? You know, on our second page, our tentative agenda part,
Mm-hmm.
Brian already has penciled in an August 12th superintendent evaluation. So he may note, or Jan may note already, and it's kind of like built into our, on the second page, our board agenda items, how they kind of rough
Oh,
it
I
out,
see,
give a
yeah.
heads up, so that part is already there.
Did you see the board one or no?
I did not see the board one.
So, so to Cheryl's point,
Oh, June.
if I may, so to Cheryl's point, in the board packet, it talks about the purpose on the meeting on May 4th, 2020 would be scheduled for Brian's evaluation, and then the purpose of the meeting on June 1st would potentially be for the board's self-evaluation.
That's typically when we do them,
Right.
but we were talking about moving them
Moving them, right?
back out of the end of the school year.
Mhm.
Right.
So maybe
So it doesn't change the questions, right?
Right.
Okay.
So that August one will catch us up for.
Is that we
current.
missed, yeah. But it kind of lays down the groundwork if that works out good to carry it over and adjust our calendar.
And Cheryl, you said August,
August 12th, it's on
August 12th.
our upcoming stuff.
A board agenda item.
for Brian.
Yeah,
Got it.
But that only touches that particular one in
this
August.
just catches up to one we
Catches up for
missed.
2019.
And there's nothing roughed in
Right.
for the board at all, yeah.
I see.
Okay, next item then on the agenda is to name the depository banks. Mr. Bob Rivetsky.
The attached resolution, Madam President, names the depository banks for the South Redford School District for the upcoming 2019-2020 school year. The depository banks for district funds are Comerica Bank of Detroit, JP Morgan Chase, the Bank of New York, Fifth Third Bank, Michigan Liquid Asset Fund Plus, and Flagstar Bank. Signature cards and bank resolutions must be signed by the 2018-2019 officers of the board for our accounts with the bank. Madam President, the resolution is attached.
Do I have a board member willing to move the resolution?
Madam President?
Thank you, Mrs. Fleischer. Is there support?
Or
Thank you, Mr. Dowdy. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the resolution?
Madam President?
Mr. Baker?
In some ways, it's kind of a moot point because we have the exact same officers. But I'm a little confused by this, why it's the 2018, 2019. Because in reality,
Either 19 or 20.
that could be somebody who would now be off the board because they didn't run last November. And do you see what I'm saying?
No, we put our officers in place in January,
Yeah.
so we're good. Even if they were off, we place our officers run January through December.
Right, but this is saying 2018 to 2019.
Where?
On the cover part, on the resolution, it doesn't say that, so maybe
No,
it's
it's
just
just
a type,
1920
typo.
resolution.
So maybe it's just a typo on the cover part.
Yeah, maybe so, because it, for the end of 20,
Should be 1920.
Yeah, it is a resolution.
Yeah, but,
That's
yeah.
what I'm thinking, because we established whoever is and what I would just say is by the current officer. Because reality, it started January, whatever it was, 8, 9, that first meeting in January, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our officers are really a calendar year,
Correct,
not a school year.
correct.
And this is talking a school year.
okay, but if, that's just like my term is over 12/31/2020. So that should still be okay, shouldn't it?
But even at that, if there's a vacancy, just like if there was a board vacancy, the
Right.
board would fill it with another person.
But, you know, just with all the talk, what officers other than me sit on the bank accounts? you guys are authorized to sign contracts, you and Lori, but as treasurer, my name has been on there for 15 years now because it's really hard to go back and forth and out. So it really only impacts the treasurer's term. You know, if you want to drill down
But
specifically.
I think I signed some of them too, that gives authorization for Kathy. to do
You
that.
certify it to the banks.
Right. It's just odd that it's, in my mind, officers that appear to be a year old in this.
I don't think it is,
But you're looking at the cover page. Look at the
Yeah.
resolution itself, because that's what we authorize.
But, I know, but it doesn't say anything about the officers there.
Here it says for the 2019-2020.
It just says that I, as the secretary,
Right. That you certify to the banks who has the authority to sign on the accounts.
right.
It's the same resolution we've used all these years.
No, I know, and I think I ask that same question every time. It seems odd to me. Who just ran in November?
Lori,
Yeah.
Cheryl,
Me.
and Misha. So they're like till
But
End of time.
But we took our seats officially January 1st, 2019.
Right.
We elect our officers in January of 2019.
Right.
So they would go through till December 31st, 2019. And then we change again in 2020
Right.
of January.
So
So-
they'll go till December of 2020.
No, I
Spend $300.
I think it, you know, this really doesn't,
Okay.
Yeah.
this really doesn't matter what the cover. It's the resolution.
Right.
It's the resolution that is the legally binding part, and it's the officers for 1920, which would be Steve and myself, that handles the financial part, you know, and we're good, and usually are good.
It just seems odd to me. I would either say current.
Don't just get that date out there is
Yeah.
what kind of starts you thinking.
Well, and part of the problem is that the school year operates on a different
Right.
schedule than what we operate.
Right.
And we're forced to operate on this one because of the legislature.
Yeah.
And it could throw things
It
off.
could, at some
if-
point, yeah.
If I ran or retired, or you ran or retired, or, you know, and didn't get reelected, and we're done in December, but that's only halfway through a school year, come January, we're halfway through and we're making
Yeah.
changes to our accounts.
Then who is, according to the resolution, whoever is secretary of the board at that time would then recertify to the bank who has the authority to sign.
Right,
There's still going to be a treasurer and there's still going to be a secretary.
right.
So,
And I think that's why I would say current, or just leave that date off, must be signed by the officers of the board. But I'm fine with it. It just seems odd to me.
yeah,
I would hate
I
to
think
do-
if they don't specify the year and such, then it sounds like it's in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why you could go current. Well, except that our resolution is only for this year.
We only do a resolution for 1 year.
That's what I'm saying, so it can't be perpetuity.
Right. But if you didn't specify the year that it was for, it could be construed to be perpetuity.
Right. I
Because
have
it
no-
doesn't specify.
I have no concern about that. I'm simply concerned about that it says
2018
18 officers.
Yeah,
That's my only question.
I don't think 2018 should be there.
No, probably shouldn't be. But that's not the resolution we're passing.
Right.
Right,
That's,
but it's still part of our minutes, is my point. So I would suggest that we just strike the 18-19.
Not on the resolution, on the front page.
On the front,
On the cover, yeah.
okay, that I'll go with.
Yeah, I was never saying
Okay.
anything about the resolution.
I think
Yeah.
that's what people were.
Okay, so I did not explain that well. My apologies.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I would suggest that just on that frontage piece, that we just say it must be signed by the officers of the board for our council. And leave the numbers out. Is that right?
For me?
Yeah.
Fletcher and Dowdy have to agree with that.
Any other questions, concerns? Okay, I will be abstaining as I have for many years because I work for one of those institutions. And I have, no, I can, I just have to always abstain. So, because I actually make more than what the legal limit is, so. For that purpose, I have to. Anyway, so, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstain? Me? Motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda is to name for 2019-20 school year the law firms. And we have a resolution, Mr. Bob.
Madam President, the board will name the firms of Miller, Canfield, Paddock, and Stone PLC, and Troon Law Firm PC as the legal firms to be used by the South River School District for the upcoming 2019-2020 school year. Attached for your consideration, the resolution.
Okay, do we have a board member willing to move the resolution?
I move that resolution, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Is there support? Support. We have movement of the resolution by Mr. Baker, support by Ms. Kangas. Questions, comments, concerns regarding the law firm naming? There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is to name the newspaper of record. Mr. Bob.
The board will name the Observer and eccentric newspapers Livonia Observer as the newspaper that will carry the South Redford legal notices for the 2019-2020 school year. Attached for your consideration.
I mean, they don't even make a newspaper anymore for Redford.
No,
And if you buy it, there's next to nothing in there on the township. Yeah. I mean, I'd almost be rather put it with township news. At least that's printed in the township and about the township. But it's not big enough, I'm sure.
Right.
They're not consistent.
No. Exactly.
Okay, well, we have a resolution. Do I have a board member willing to move the resolution?
Under duress.
Yeah, copy that.
Thank you, Ms. Kangas. Is there support?
You want it in the Detroit News?
I will second it.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Begrudgingly, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Questions, comments, concerns regarding the resolution?
Are these,
Just giving you our.
Mr. Baker, or Ms. Kangas and Baker. Okay, all those in support, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Sorry.
That's okay. I understand the feeling.
Just to make a statement,
You're right, that's true.
you know, he's not happy with it.
Yay.
Are you really?
Yeah.
But-
Can I throw my brick for May?
Yeah, okay.
His mouth is running, he's got to walk over and.
I will buy it. The paper. Best I can do.
Yeah. I don't read
I never had time to read it anyway.
There's nothing in it.
There's nothing in
it.
it.
There's nothing in it.
I still had time to read
You
it.
said, but a blurb every now and again about like this.
I don't even think it's that big, is it?
It's only when there's bad news.
Oh, yeah, now we got front page even across media, so anyway, I digress. Next item on the agenda is the Board of School Liaison assignments for the 2019-20 school year. Mr. Bob Gravetsky.
Madam President, the board will discuss and confirm appointments for the board member school liaisons. At the beginning of the school year, the board member is assigned to each elementary, middle, and high school to maintain a line of communication between the school and the board and to facilitate the board's positive relationship with the school communities. The following is a list of suggested board member school liaison assignments. One member was randomly selected to skip a year and is welcome to be present at school activities at any of the schools or may substitute or help another board member as needed. Madam President,
Mr. Bob Gravetsky.
possible consideration is the below.
I don't think that's a resolution.
It's not, but just didn't know if there was any commentary from the board as to the proposed, that's there at the bottom, of locations, or possible changes.
We have Mr. Baker for Vandenberg, Mr. Dowdy for Pierce.
BMS.
EMS, I was always amused by that. Mr. Olinga Adams, Mrs. Fletcher at Jefferson, Ms. Kangas at Fisher, and Ms. Oliver at Thurston. Mr. Thomas.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to have it.
Oh, Adams?
Yeah.
Michelle. He then.
Things over the backyard.
I don't know. There is a sheet that's been going around the table with the roster. Here comes that.
Misha has it, and we're all done. For $5, I won't post it anymore.
Yeah, we've indicated any changes that needed to be made, so.
And you can post mine if you put in the suggested places I ask you to put it.
I don't know where'd you go there.
Move on. Please,
Okay, next item on the agenda is comments from the audience. Mr. Baker, do we have any comments?
Our robust audience is filling the coop, and we have none, Madam President.
Are we gonna get that little pot thing? I forgot, I lost mine. Remember you gave us little popcorn on the.
Yeah, that was very nice, yeah.
Yeah, that was nice, eh?
Yeah.
I'll ask Dan to do that for us.
Next item on the agenda is the Plus Delta and board comments. Is this a training event, Chris, or are you still taking this?
It's up to you.
You can.
You're too easy.
Yeah. She's madeling.
All right. So what processes supported the work of the board, what pluses, and what are our opportunities for improvement as deltas? They always let me know if it's a plus or a
Yeah.
I don't know, I start with a comment. It's always nice to see when we move up within the district. In this case, and in this case over here.
Yeah.
It shows, I think we do a good job, the administrators and whatnot, but it's just, you don't have to bring people in from the outside, you got people from the inside that can do it. That's all.
This is good.
And I'm glad he and his wife and family were able to attend.
Did you just say something that I should be putting down here? Okay.
Just an arbitrary comment.
I have a plus.
Okay.
Jason led us well this evening in the absence of our esteemed superintendent. What's his name again? Yeah.
Is he gonna watch these when he comes
Not
back?
a chance.
And he's checked in, right? He hasn't been consumed by any bears or
He has checked
selfies
in.
falling
He
off.
has
off
checked
the-
in.
Yellowstone?
No
Yeah.
backward selfies.
I did tell him that too.
You and I both.
Got a rope around him.
Anybody else?
Madam President,
Mrs. Tower?
I think Jason did a great job, and it just goes to show that he was trained well.
There you go.
He doesn't know it, but he's being recruited. It's a ways off.
I don't know if this is just a comment, but it was nice to have the packet early so that our staff could enjoy their holiday as well. And so I think that's a kudos to the administration for doing that well, getting it ready, and having it done. And I didn't care if the warrants didn't come till later. That was perfectly fine. So I think it's a good way for us to honor our staff by allowing that kind of thing to happen. Is that too convoluted?
If you could just give me like a little
A
short.
little sentence.
Yeah.
All right, here comes Cliff Notes.
Okay. Nice to have
The packet early
the packet early, okay.
so that staff could enjoy their holiday.
We already said also.
That's what
So
It's an
Jen
important
didn't
one.
have to rush and get it together after the holiday, yes.
Anything else?
Okay, anything else? Any deltas? Happy opportunities for improvement.
No deltas.
Okay. You have one?
No,
Oh. No?
no deltas.
No deltas, all right.
And then there coming no further business before this board, I declare the meeting adjourned at
7:35.
7:35.
All right. All right.
So we need to come up with the camera.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll take
Luckily, Dan takes care of that.
They're compiling.
Things that come out of your mouth, young lady.